The crystal chandeliers sparkled above the ballroom as Maya Carter walked through the crowd of elegant guests. Her hands trembled slightly, but she kept moving forward. Her green dress, the nicest thing she owned, felt out of place among the designer gowns surrounding her. She had spent her last $20 on the charity gala ticket, not for the food or the networking, but for one single purpose: to face him. Alex Grant stood near the bar, surrounded by admirers as always. The billionaire CEO of Grant Industries looked exactly like his pictures. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair touched with gray at the temples. His navy suit probably cost more than Maya's entire year of rent. Women kept approaching him, each one receiving the same polite but cold dismissal. He had a reputation for rejecting every romantic advance with the efficiency of a well-oiled machine. But Maya wasn't here for romance. She was here because Alex Grant owned the building that housed the Harborview Community Hub, the place she had poured 5 years of her life into building. The place that served 200 families every week. The place he was planning to sell to a developer who would tear it down to build luxury condos. She had tried everything else. Phone calls went unanswered. Emails disappeared into the void. His secretary had stopped taking her messages 3 weeks ago. Tonight was her last chance, even if it meant making a scene in front of the city's most powerful people. Maya pushed through the final cluster of guests and stopped directly in front of Alex Grant. Up close, his gray eyes were even colder than she had imagined. He glanced at her with the same detached politeness he had given everyone else. "Mr. Grant," Maya said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We need to talk about the Harborview Community Hub." "I don't discuss business at social events," Alex replied, his tone flat. He started to turn away. "Then maybe you should discuss it somewhere. Anywhere instead of ignoring the 200 families whose lives you're about to destroy." The conversations around them began to fade. People were starting to notice. Alex turned back, his expression unchanged. "Miss Carter, Maya Carter, I've been trying to reach you for 3 months. I'm sure my staff has handled your concerns. Your staff sent me a form letter. A form letter telling me that the building I've worked in for 5 years is being sold in 60 days. Maya felt the anger she'd been holding back start to rise. "Do you have any idea what that community center means to people? We teach kids to read. We help people find jobs. We feed families who have nowhere else to go." "I'm sure you do good work," Alex said, his voice still maddeningly calm. "But this is a business decision." "A business decision," Maya repeated, and something inside her snapped around the phrase. The ballroom had gone still. "Is that what you call it when you choose profit over people? When you shut down the only safe place some kids have? When you destroy something beautiful just because you can? Miss Carter, this is neither the time nor the place." "Then when is the time? Where is the place?" Her voice carried across the hush. "You won't take my calls. You won't read my letters. You hide behind assistants and lawyers while real people suffer. I came here tonight because I'm desperate. In 60 days, everything I've built is gone. And you won't even look me in the eye while you do it." For the first time, Alex Grant actually looked at her. His gray eyes met hers, and something flickered their surprise, maybe, or interest. "You're right," he said quietly. "I should have taken your call." The admission stunned her. "Come to my office Monday morning, 9 o'clock, he added. "We'll discuss this properly." He slipped a business card from his pocket and handed it over. "Ask for me directly." Maya stared at the card, then at him. "You'll really meet with me?" "I said I would." She wanted to press, to push her advantage, but the exhaustion of the last 3 months crashed over her all at once. She had done what she came to do. "Thank you," she managed. Alex nodded once, then walked away, leaving Maya standing in the middle of the ballroom with every eye in the room on her. As the shocked whispers started up around her, Maya clutched the business card and tried to breathe normally. She had just publicly confronted the most powerful man in the city. She had called him out in front of everyone who mattered. Tomorrow she would either be a hero or unemployed, but at least she had tried. At least she had spoken up for the people who couldn't speak for themselves. Her grandmother had always told her that kindness and courage went hand in hand. Sometimes love for others meant risking everything. Maya turned and walked out of the ballroom with her head high. Even though her legs felt like water behind her, the whispers grew louder. By morning, everyone would know what she had done. The night air hit her face as she stepped outside. She had spent her last $20 on that ticket. She would have to walk home, a journey of 45 minutes through the city streets, but she barely noticed. Her mind kept replaying the moment when Alex Grant had looked at her, really looked at her, and said she was right. Maybe, just maybe, Monday morning would bring a miracle. Maybe the coldest man in the city had a heart after all. Maya started walking, the business card still clutched in her hand, and let herself hope. Have you ever had to risk everything for something you believed in? What would you do if your community's future depended on convincing someone who seemed impossible to reach? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for the rest of Maya's journey. Will Alex Grant really help her, or was his promise just empty words? Monday morning arrived too quickly. Maya stood in front of Grant Tower, a gleaming glass tower that reached 30 stories into the sky. Her navy, dressed carefully the night before, suddenly felt shabby. She had been awake since 5, rehearsing what she would say. The lobby was all marble and chrome. A security guard directed her to the top floor. When the elevator doors opened, a woman in a perfect gray suit greeted her immediately. "Miss Carter, Mr. Grant is expecting you." "This way, please." Maya followed, her heart pounding. She had expected to wait to be made to feel small and insignificant. Instead, she was being treated like an important client. Alex's office took up half the top floor. Windows on 3 sides offered views of the entire city. He stood looking out at the skyline, his back to the door. "Mr. Grant and Miss Carter is here," the assistant announced. He turned in the morning light. He looked different than he had at the gala. Tired, maybe more human. He wore a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, no jacket. "Thank you, Clara. Please hold my calls." When they were alone, Alex gestured to a sitting area by the windows. "Please sit down." Maya perched on the edge of a leather chair, her folder of documents clutched in her lap. "Thank you for seeing me. I should have seen you months ago." He sat across from her, his posture formal but not hostile. "You were right about everything you said Saturday night." The admission stunned her. I've been too focused on numbers and not enough on people. When I reviewed your file yesterday, I realized I had made a significant error in judgment." He leaned forward slightly. "Tell me about the Harborview Community Hub. Everything. What you do, who you serve, why it matters." So Maya told him. She spoke for 20 minutes, describing every program, every success story, every child who had learned to read, every adult who had found work. She showed him photographs and letters from families. She explained how the center had become the heart of the neighborhood. Alex listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "I'm going to be honest with you, Miss Carter. I had no idea any of this existed. When my property managers recommended selling that building, I looked at profit margins and market values. I never visited. I never asked what was actually happening there. And now," Maya held her breath, "now I want to make this right." He stood and walked to his desk, returning with a folder. "I'm proposing something different. Instead of selling the building, I want Grant Industries to become the primary sponsor of the Harborview Community Hub. We'll renovate the building, fund your programs, and provide resources for expansion." Maya felt her eyes widen. "What?" "You'll maintain complete control of programming and operations. We'll simply provide financial backing and support." He handed her the folder. These are initial proposals. Review them with your board. Suggest changes. Tell me what you need." She opened the folder with shaking hands. The numbers inside made her dizzy. It was more money than she had dreamed of asking for. "Mr. Grant, this is incredibly generous. It's what should have happened from the beginning." You sat back down. "I've spent 10 years building a company and forgot why I started. My mother ran a community center when I was young. It closed due to lack of funding. I told myself I would never let that happen again. And then I almost did exactly that. I don't know what to say. Say yes, accept the help. Let me make this right." Every instinct, Maya had told her to be suspicious, to look for catches and hidden clauses. But the sincerity in Alex's eyes seemed genuine, and she had come here hoping for a miracle. Here it was, sitting in her lap. "Yes," she said firmly. "Yes, we accept with gratitude." "Thank you." A smile crossed Alex's face, the first real smile she had seen from him. It transformed his entire appearance, making him look younger and infinitely more approachable. "Good. When can I visit the center?" "I want to see it for myself. Anytime. We're open every day." "How about right now?" Maya blinked. "Now, unless you have other plans." He was already standing, reaching for his jacket. "I've cleared my schedule for today. Show me what I almost destroyed." 20 minutes later, they pulled up to the Harborview Community Hub in Alex's town car. The building looked even more rundown next to his luxury vehicle. Faded blue paint peeled from the doors, and the sign needed replacing. But inside, life buzzed with energy. Children filled the after-school program room, working on homework at donated tables. In the kitchen, volunteers prepared meals for the evening dinner service. Upstairs, a job training class was in session. Maya watched Alex as he took it all in. His expression was unreadable. "Mr. Grant," a small voice said. A boy of about 7 stood nearby holding a book. "Are you the man who's going to help Miss Maya?" Alex crouched down to the child's level. "I'm going to try." "What's your name?" "Noah. I'm learning to read. Miss Maya teaches me every Tuesday." "That's wonderful. What are you reading?" Noah held up the book proudly. "A story about space. I want to be an astronaut when I grow up." "That's an excellent goal." Alex glanced at Maya, then back at Noah. "Study hard, dream big, and never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Okay." Noah grinned and ran off to show his book to a friend. Alex stood slowly. "How many children come here?" 53 in our after-school program, more during summer. "And you teach them yourself?" "I do what I can. We have volunteers too." Maya gestured around. "Everyone here gives what they can: time, skills, donations. We make it work." For the next 2 hours, Alex walked through every part of the center. He chatted with volunteers, greeted parents collecting their kids, and paused to watch a cooking class mid-lesson. He kept up a steady stream of questions, tapping notes into his phone. When dinner service started, he rolled up his sleeves and stepped behind the line to help. Maya found herself beside him, ladling soup into bowls for the steady flow of guests, many elderly. Some families with young children, others folks just knocked sideways by life. "Thank you, baby," an older woman told Maya, then tipped her chin at Alex. "And thank you too, young man." "You new here?" "Yes, ma'am," Alex said. "First time. Well, you're doing good work. God bless you." When the last plate was served and the room cleared out, Alex stayed without being asked. He wiped tables, stacked chairs, and fell into step with the volunteers. "You didn't have to do that," Maya said as they stood in the empty dining room. "I wanted to." He took in the worn but spotless space. "This place is special. You've made something remarkable. We all did it together. But you're the heart," he said simply. He met her eyes. "I meant what I said this morning. I want to help whatever you need. You already have, more than you know. Emotion tightened her throat. 3 months ago, I thought we were finished. Now, she extended her hand. Now you have a partner. If you'll have me, partners. His grip was warm. Sure, partners, she echoed. That evening, Maya stood in the doorway and watched his car slip into the city traffic. Inside, volunteers buzzed about the billionaire who came to help, the renovation plans, the miracle that walked through their doors. But Maya's mind kept circling something else, the way Alex had crouched to meet Noah eye to eye. How he'd called the elder ma'am with unforced respect. How carefully he'd listened to every single person. Maybe the cold reputation wasn't the truth. Maybe he was just someone who'd forgotten how to connect. And maybe, just maybe, the Harborview Community Hub could teach him how to care again. Work began Wednesday. Alex didn't just dispatch contractors and wire funds. He showed up every morning at 8, in jeans and work shirts, ready to pitch in. On day 1, Maya arrived to find him already conferring with the construction foreman. Gone were the boardroom suits. The casual clothes made him look easier to approach, and his blue button-down was already dusty from inspecting the building's bones. "Good morning," he called when he spotted her. "Hope you don't mind. I wanted to get a jump on things." "Mind? This is wonderful." Maya set down her bag. "What's the plan?" For the next hour, Alex laid it out. New HVAC, fresh paint throughout, upgraded kitchen equipment, a computer lab for job training, and opening the unused basement for extra classrooms. He'd thought of everything. "And there's one more thing," he added, pulling up images on his phone. "A rooftop garden. A place for the community to grow food together, where kids can learn about nature. What do you think?" Tears pricked her eyes. "It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Good, then we'll do it." He gave her that transforming smile, the one that made him look like someone entirely different. "Now, where do you need me?" "I'm here to work." They spent the day coordinating volunteers and crews. Alex proved unexpectedly hands-on, hauling furniture, organizing supplies, even climbing a ladder to help take down old light fixtures. He treated every volunteer with respect, learning names and asking about their lives. During lunch, they sat on the front steps eating sandwiches that one of the volunteers had brought. Children played in the small yard nearby, their laughter filling the air. "You're good at this," Maya observed. "At what?" "Connecting with people. I thought you would be more distant." Alex was quiet for a moment. "I used to be better at it. Then I spent years building a company, focusing only on success and growth. Somewhere along the way, I forgot that business is about people, not just profit." "What made you change?" "You did." He looked at her directly. "When you stood up to me at that gala, you reminded me who I used to be, who I want to be again." Before Maya could respond, Noah came running up, his face excited. "Miss Maya, Mr. Alex, come see what we found in the basement." They followed the boy downstairs, where a group of children had discovered a collection of old books in a forgotten corner. The volumes were dusty but intact classics and adventure stories from decades past. "Can we keep them?" Noah asked hopefully. "Absolutely," Alex said immediately. "In fact, let's create a proper library. We'll get bookshelves, comfortable chairs, good lighting, make it a real reading room." The children cheered and immediately began planning where everything should go. Maya watched as Alex knelt among them, listening seriously to each suggestion, treating their ideas with genuine consideration. As the days passed, a routine developed. Alex arrived every morning. They worked together all day. In the evenings, they reviewed progress and made plans for the next day. The center began to transform before their eyes. But more than the building was changing. Maya found herself looking forward to Alex's arrival each morning. She noticed small things about him, how he always made sure the volunteers took breaks, How he remembered everyone's names after meeting them once. How he never talked down to anyone regardless of their circumstances. One afternoon, they were painting the main hallway together, working side by side on ladders. Alex had paint in his hair and on his nose, looking nothing like the intimidating billionaire from the gala. "You're smiling," he observed. "Am I?" Maya realized she was. "I'm just happy this is really happening. The center is going to be better than I ever imagined. That's because you dared to fight for it. If you hadn't confronted me that night, if I hadn't been terrified and desperate, you mean?" "No, if you hadn't been brave," he paused in his painting. "Most people would have given up after being ignored for 3 months. You didn't. You walked into a room full of powerful people and spoke truth to power. That takes real courage or stupidity." "Courage," he insisted. "You believed in something bigger than yourself. That's rare." They continued painting in comfortable silence. Outside, the sounds of the neighborhood drifted through open windows. Children playing, neighbors calling to each other. The everyday symphony of community life. "I like it here," Alex said suddenly. "I like being part of this. You are part of it now. Everyone asks about you when you're not here." "They do. Noah talks about you constantly. He told his teacher that a businessman is teaching him that success means helping others." Maya smiled at the memory. "You're making a difference." Alex looked pleased but also slightly uncomfortable with the praise. "I'm just trying to help. You are more than you know." As the sun set, they finished the hallway and stood back to admire their work. The fresh green paint had transformed the dingy corridor into something bright and welcoming. "We make a good team," Alex said. "Yes," Maya agreed. "We do." Over the following weeks, they fell into an easy partnership. Alex brought business expertise and resources. Maya brought knowledge of the community and understanding of their needs. Together, they created something neither could have accomplished alone. The computer lab opened first, equipped with new computers and software that Alex's company donated. They held a ribbon-cutting ceremony and 20 people signed up for job training classes on the spot. The kitchen renovation finished next. Commercial-grade equipment replaced the old donated appliances. The cooking classes expanded, teaching nutrition and meal preparation skills to families. Through it all, Alex was there, not just funding the projects, but participating in them. He taught a session in the business skills class, sharing real-world experience with aspiring entrepreneurs. He coached a youth basketball team using the newly refinished court. He joined the board of directors and attended every meeting. Maya watched him transform from the cold CEO of reputation into someone warm and engaged. She saw how naturally kindness came to him when he allowed himself to show it, and she felt her own feelings changing. What had started as gratitude for his help was becoming something else, something warmer, something that made her heart beat faster when he smiled at her. But she pushed those thoughts aside. This was about the community center, about helping people. Romance had no place in their partnership. At least that's what she kept telling herself. On a Friday evening, as they locked up the center together, Alex turned to her. "Maya, I want to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "You're the one who saved us. You saved me first. Before I met you, I was going through the motions of life, building wealth, but not meaning. You reminded me what matters. You gave me purpose again." Maya felt her breath catch. "Alex, I know we're partners in this project, but I hope we're also becoming friends." She smiled even as her heart did complicated things in her chest. "Yes, we're friends." As they walked to their cars, Maya realized that she had never been happier. The center was thriving. The community was coming together. And Alex Grant, the man who supposedly rejected everyone, had become one of the most important people in her life. Whatever came next, they would face it together. 3 months into the renovation, the Harborview Community Hub had become almost unrecognizable. The building gleamed with fresh paint, new windows, and modern fixtures. But the real transformation was happening in less visible ways. Alex had become a fixture in the neighborhood. He knew the regular dinner service guests by name. He attended community meetings and listened to people's concerns. He stayed late on Fridays to help tutor kids who needed extra help with math. On a Tuesday morning, Maya arrived to find Alex already in the basement, helping install bookshelves for the new library. He was laughing with two volunteers, completely at ease. "Morning," he called when he saw her. "We're almost done here. The books arrived yesterday. Want to help organize them?" They spent the morning sorting books by category, building a system that would make sense for everyone who used the library. It was peaceful work made pleasant by easy conversation. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said as they shelved mysteries. "Why do you work so hard here? You could just write checks and show up for photo opportunities. But you're here almost every day doing the actual work." Alex was quiet for a moment, carefully placing a book on the shelf. "My mother died when I was 15. Cancer. Before that, she ran a community center in our neighborhood, a lot like this one. After she died, the center closed. There wasn't anyone to keep it going, and the funding dried up. I'm so sorry. I decided then that I would become successful enough to make sure other centers never closed. That communities would always have places like this." He paused. "But somewhere along the way, I got lost in building my company. I forgot the why behind the what. When you confronted me at the gala, you woke me up. You reminded me of my mother, of her passion for helping people." Maya felt her heart ache for the boy who had lost his mother, for the man who had lost his way. "She would be proud of you now." "I hope so." He turned to look at her. "But I'm also here for another reason. I like spending time with you." The admission hung in the air between them. Maya felt her pulse quicken. "I like spending time with you too." "Good," he smiled. But there was something vulnerable in his expression. "Because I haven't had a real friend in years. I'd forgotten what it feels like to connect with someone outside of business negotiations." Friend. The word should have felt right, but instead it left Maya with an odd sense of disappointment. She pushed the feeling aside. Friendship was good. Friendship was safe. Friendship wouldn't complicate their partnership. "Tell me about your mother," she said, changing the subject gently. "What was she like?" For the next hour, as they continued organizing books, Alex told stories about his childhood. His mother had been full of energy and hope, always believing in people's potential. She had taught him that everyone deserved dignity and respect regardless of their circumstances. She used to say that kindness was the only currency that mattered. Alex said that you could buy anything with money, but real wealth was measured in the lives you touched. "She sounds wonderful." She was. She would have loved this place. Loved you. He caught himself. "I mean, loved what you do here." Maya felt her cheeks warm. "I wish I could have met her. She would have told you to keep fighting, keep believing. She would have said that people like you are the reason the world has hope." They finished the library by early afternoon. Standing in the doorway, looking at the neat rows of books and comfortable reading chairs, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. "The kids are going to love this." She said, "We should have a grand opening. Make it special." "Yes, we're friends." As they walked to their cars, Maya realized that she had never been happier. The center was thriving. The community was coming together. And Alex Grant, the man who supposedly rejected everyone, had become one of the most important people in her life. Whatever came next, they would face it together. 3 months into the renovation, the Harborview Community Hub had become almost unrecognizable. The building gleamed with fresh paint, new windows, and modern fixtures. But the real transformation was happening in less visible ways. Alex had become a fixture in the neighborhood. He knew the regular dinner service guests by name. He attended community meetings and listened to people's concerns. He stayed late on Fridays to help tutor kids who needed extra help with math. On a Tuesday morning, Maya arrived to find Alex already in the basement, helping install bookshelves for the new library. He was laughing with 2 volunteers, completely at ease. "Morning," he called when he saw her. "We're almost done here. The books arrived yesterday. Want to help organize them?" They spent the morning sorting books by category, building a system that would make sense for everyone who used the library. It was peaceful work made pleasant by easy conversation. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said as they shelved mysteries. "Why do you work so hard here? You could just write checks and show up for photo opportunities. But you're here almost every day doing the actual work." Alex was quiet for a moment, carefully placing a book on the shelf. "My mother died when I was 15. Cancer. Before that, she ran a community center in our neighborhood, a lot like this one. After she died, the center closed. There wasn't anyone to keep it going, and the funding dried up. I'm so sorry. I decided then that I would become successful enough to make sure other centers never closed. That communities would always have places like this." He paused. "But somewhere along the way, I got lost in building my company. I forgot the why behind the what. When you confronted me at the gala, you woke me up. You reminded me of my mother, of her passion for helping people." Maya felt her heart ache for the boy who had lost his mother, for the man who had lost his way. "She would be proud of you now." "I hope so." He turned to look at her. "But I'm also here for another reason. I like spending time with you." The admission hung in the air between them. Maya felt her pulse quicken. "I like spending time with you too." "Good," he smiled. But there was something vulnerable in his expression. "Because I haven't had a real friend in years. I'd forgotten what it feels like to connect with someone outside of business negotiations." Friend. The word should have felt right, but instead it left Maya with an odd sense of disappointment. She pushed the feeling aside. Friendship was good. Friendship was safe. Friendship wouldn't complicate their partnership. "Tell me about your mother," she said, changing the subject gently. "What was she like?" For the next hour, as they continued organizing books, Alex told stories about his childhood. His mother had been full of energy and hope, always believing in people's potential. She had taught him that everyone deserved dignity and respect regardless of their circumstances. She used to say that kindness was the only currency that mattered. Alex said that you could buy anything with money, but real wealth was measured in the lives you touched. She sounds wonderful. She was. She would have loved this place. Loved you. He caught himself. "I mean, loved what you do here." Maya felt her cheeks warm. "I wish I could have met her. She would have told you to keep fighting, keep believing. She would have said that people like you are the reason the world has hope." They finished the library by early afternoon. Standing in the doorway, looking at the neat rows of books and comfortable reading chairs, Maya felt a sense of accomplishment. "The kids are going to love this." She said, "We should have a grand opening. Make it special." Maya laughed. "I was trying to be professional. Professional is good. Happy is better. Now what are you wearing?" They spent an hour debating outfits and settled on Maya's red dress, the one that made her feel strong and beautiful. After they hung up, Maya stood before the mirror, holding the dress, letting herself feel it. Alex Grant had asked her on a date. The man who shut everyone out had chosen her, not because she was a novelty, but because they'd built something real. Because they were friends first, partners with a shared mission. Because kindness and hope had brought them together. The next evening she was ready by 6:30, too jittery to sit. At exactly 7 o'clock, Alex knocked. She inhaled, opened the door. He stood there in a charcoal suit, flowers in hand, but it was his expression that lifted her heart. Pure admiration threaded with wonder. "You look beautiful," he said softly. "Thank you. You look very handsome." She took the bouquet bright yellow sunflowers. "They're lovely. They made me think of you," he said. "Bright, warm." She set them in water, grabbed her purse. "Where are we going?" "You'll see." He brought her to a restaurant atop one of the city's oldest buildings. The skyline sprawled like a painting, but Maya could hardly look away from him. Away from the center, he seemed looser and more exposed. This wasn't Alex the CEO or Alex the tireless volunteer. It was simply Alex. This was just Alex, a man on a date hoping to make a good impression. "I have to admit," he said after they ordered, "I'm nervous. I haven't done this in years." "Neither have I. I've been too busy with the center." "Then we're both out of practice." He smiled. "We'll figure it out together." Dinner was easy and comfortable. They talked about everything. Their childhoods, their dreams, their favorite books and movies. Alex told funny stories about his early days building his company. Maya shared memories of starting the center with nothing but determination and hope. "Do you ever regret it?" Alex asked, "dedicating so much of your life to the center? You could have focused on your own career, made more money, had an easier life." "Never. Not once." Maya spoke without hesitation. Every struggle was worth it. Every late night, every moment of doubt, every challenge. Because we're changing lives, real lives, that matters more than anything. Your passion is incredible. It's one of the things I admire most about you. What are the other things? He considered the question seriously. Your courage, your kindness, the way you see the best in people, even people like me who had forgotten how to see it in themselves. The way you lead with hope instead of fear. Your laugh. The way you really listen when people talk. Should I keep going? Maya felt herself blush. That's a pretty good list. I could add more. Your turn. What do I admire about you? She counted on her fingers. Your willingness to admit when you're wrong. The way you've embraced the community. How you treat everyone with respect regardless of who they are. How you're not afraid to get your hands dirty. Your dedication once you commit to something. We're good at complimenting each other. We're good at a lot of things together. After dinner, they walked through the nearby park. The evening was warm and couples and families filled the paths. Alex took her hand as they walked, and Maya felt a sense of rightness settle over her. I want to be honest with you. Alex said, I've spent years avoiding relationships because I was afraid. Afraid of losing control, afraid of getting hurt, afraid of caring too much. But with you, I'm not afraid. Or maybe I am. But I want to try anyway. I'm scared too. Maya admitted. This matters so much. You matter so much. The idea of risking our partnership, our friendship is terrifying. Then let's be scared together. Let's take it slow. See where this goes. He stopped walking and turned to face her. But I want you to know that I'm serious about this about you. I'm not playing games or passing time. I want to see if we can build something real. Maya looked up at him at the sincerity in his gray eyes, at the hope and vulnerability in his expression. This was a man who had opened his heart after years of keeping it locked away, who had chosen kindness over coldness, connection over isolation, who had chosen her. I want that too, she said. He smiled, then leaned down slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted. She didn't want to. When his lips met hers, it felt like coming home. The kiss was gentle, sweet, full of promise. When they pulled apart, Alex rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that for months. Why didn't you? Timing, fear, uncertainty. Pick your excuse. He laughed softly, but I'm glad I finally did. They continued walking hand in hand, talking about everything and nothing. Time seemed to both stop and speed up. Before Maya realized it, they were back at her apartment building. I had a wonderful time, she said. So can we do this again? Soon. I'd like that. Alex walked her to her door, kissed her goodnight one more time, and then waited until she was safely inside before leaving. Maya leaned against her closed door, her hand over her racing heart, and smiled. Tomorrow they would go back to work at the center. But now everything had changed. They weren't just partners or friends anymore. They were something more. Something that felt like the beginning of forever. What do you think about Alex and Maya's first date? Do you believe in taking chances on love even when it's risky? Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next in their story. Over the following weeks, Alex and Maya fell into a new rhythm. During the day, they worked side by side at the community center, professional and focused. But in the evenings, they explored their new relationship, going on dates and learning about each other in deeper ways. The center continued to thrive. The rooftop garden opened, and community members of all ages came to plant vegetables and flowers. Alex organized a mentorship program, bringing in business professionals to coach aspiring entrepreneurs. Maya expanded the tutoring services, helping even more children with their studies. Through it all, they supported each other. When Maya felt overwhelmed by the demands of running an expanding organization, Alex helped her delegate and organize. When Alex struggled with letting go of his controlling tendencies, Maya reminded him to trust the process and the people. On a Saturday afternoon, they worked together in the rooftop garden, teaching a group of children how to plant tomatoes. Noah was there as always, asking a million questions and making everyone laugh with his enthusiasm. "Mr. Alex," Noah said, "are you and Miss Maya boyfriend and girlfriend now?" "My mom said you are." Alex glanced at Maya, his expression amused. "What do you think we should tell him?" Maya knelt down to Noah's level. "Yes, we are. Is that okay with you?" "It's great. My mom also said, Miss Maya smiles more now, and that's because of you, Mr. Alex. You make her happy." "She makes me happy too," Alex said softly, looking at Maya over Noah's head. "Very happy." After the gardening session, Alex and Maya cleaned up while the volunteers took the children downstairs for a snack. Alone on the rooftop with the city stretching out around them, Alex pulled Maya close. "Have I told you today that you're amazing?" he asked. "Not yet." "You're amazing." He kissed her forehead. "I love watching you with the kids. You have such patience and warmth. They're good kids. They just need someone to believe in them, like you believed in me." Maya looked up at him. "I didn't have to believe in you. You showed me who you really were. You just had to let yourself be that person again." Alex was quiet for a moment, his arms around her waist, looking out at the skyline. "My father called yesterday. He heard about what I'm doing here." "What did he say?" "He thinks I'm wasting my time and resources. That charity work is fine for tax write-offs, but shouldn't be my main focus. He said I'm neglecting my company and my reputation." Alex's voice was carefully neutral. "How did that make you feel?" "At first, angry, then sad, because he doesn't understand that this is what success really looks like. Not money in a bank account, but lives being changed, communities being strengthened, people having hope." He looked down at her. "He doesn't understand that I found something here that I was missing for years. Purpose, connection, love." The last word hung in the air between them. They had been dating for a month, but neither had said the word yet. Maya felt her heartbeat faster. "Love," she repeated softly. "Yes, love for this community. Love for the work we're doing together." He paused. "And love for you, Maya. I'm in love with you." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you too. I've been wanting to say it, but didn't know if it was too soon." "There's no such thing as too soon when it's real." Alex cuped her face gently. "I fought falling in love for so long, convinced it would make me weak or vulnerable. But loving you doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger, better, more myself than I've ever been." She kissed him, pouring all her feelings into it. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through happy tears. "So what did you tell your father?" Maya asked. "I told him that I've finally figured out what matters. And if he can't support that, then I'm sorry, but I'm not changing my mind. This is my life now. This work, this community. That must have been hard. Not as hard as I thought it would be, because I knew I was making the right choice. The only choice." He took her hands. "Maya, I want to tell you something about my past, about why I became the person I was." They sat on one of the garden benches, and Alex began to talk. He told her about his childhood, about his mother's death, about his father's coldness. Afterward, he explained how his father had pushed him to succeed in business, to be ruthless and emotionless, to see relationships as distractions and weaknesses. "I spent 15 years trying to be what my father wanted," Alex said. "Building a company, making money, cutting out anything that felt like softness or emotion. I rejected every woman who showed interest because my father said family and love would hold me back. I became exactly what he wanted me to be, successful and completely alone." That sounds miserable. It was, but I didn't even realize it until you confronted me that night. When you stood there calling me out for not caring about people, something cracked open inside me. I saw myself through your eyes, and I didn't like what I saw. Maya squeezed his hands. "But you changed. That takes courage. You gave me the courage. You and everyone here. You showed me that caring isn't weakness. That kindness isn't a liability. That love in all its forms is what makes life worth living. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. Of what we've built together, this center, this community, this relationship, all of it." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun begin its descent toward the horizon. Below them, the sounds of the center drifted up. Children playing, volunteers laughing, the everyday music of people helping each other. "What about you?" Alex asked. "Tell me about your dreams. Not just for the center, but for yourself." Maya thought about it. "I want to expand. Open more community centers and other neighborhoods. Create a network of support across the entire city. I want to prove that communities can thrive when people care about each other. When kindness and hope lead the way." That's a beautiful vision. How can I help make it happen? You already are every day. I mean bigger. Let's make this a real plan. Use Grant Industries' resources to replicate this model across the city, across the country eventually. Why should only one neighborhood benefit from what we've learned? Maya felt excitement bubble up. "You're serious completely." "I've been thinking about it for weeks. What if we created a foundation? The Riverside Foundation for Community Development. We'll fund new centers, provide training and support, share best practices, make kindness and community building scalable." "Alex, that would be incredible, but it's such a big undertaking." So was saving the center. "You did that." He pulled her closer. "We can do this together. Use my resources and your knowledge, my connections and your heart. We'll change the world one community at a time." Tears spilled down Maya's cheeks. "I can't believe this is real. 6 months ago, I thought we were finished. Now we're talking about expanding across the country. 6 months ago, I thought I knew what success meant. Now I know it means this meaningful work with someone you love. Making a real difference in real lives. That's the only success that matters." As the sun set, painting the sky in brilliant colors, they stayed on the rooftop, planning and dreaming together. The future stretched out before them, full of possibility and promise. Below, the community center buzzed with life. People helping each other. Children learning and growing. Families sharing meals. Hope becoming reality. And above it all, two people who had found each other against all odds. building something beautiful together, something that would last far beyond themselves. Love, kindness, and hope were changing the world one heart at a time. The next 3 months passed in a blur of happiness and progress. Alex and Maya were inseparable both at work and in their personal lives. The community embraced their relationship, celebrating the love story unfolding in their midst. The Harborview Community Hub had become a model for the entire city. Local news covered their success story. The community center that had nearly closed now thriving thanks to an unlikely partnership. Other organizations reached out for advice. Politicians visited to see what they had accomplished. Through it all, Alex remained humble and focused. He redirected attention to the community members themselves, emphasizing that the center's success came from the people it served, not from any one person's efforts. "You've changed so much," Maya told him one evening as they walked home from the center together. They had fallen into the habit of walking the neighborhood after closing, enjoying the spring air and each other's company. "Have I?" Alex asked, taking her hand. "The man I met at that gala would never have given credit to others. He was all about personal achievement. That man was a fool." Alex stopped walking and pulled her close. He didn't understand that real achievement is measured by the lives you touch, not the wealth you accumulate. He didn't know that sharing success makes it sweeter. He definitely didn't know that loving someone makes everything better. Maya smiled up at him. "You're getting sentimental in your old age." "I'm 35. Thank you very much. And yes, I am sentimental about you, about us, about this life we're building together." They continued walking, their fingers intertwined. Around them, the neighborhood was settling into evening. Families sat on stoops enjoying the warm weather. Kids played one last game before being called in for bed. The community they served pulsed around them like a living thing. "I have news," Maya said. City Council reached out. They want to use our model for a new initiative, and they're offering funding to expand into 3 more neighborhoods. Alex's face lit. "Maya, that's incredible. Exactly what we hoped for. I know it's sooner than I expected, but I'm worried," she admitted. "What if growth dilutes the quality? What if we lose what makes this place special?" "We won't," he said. "Because what's special isn't the walls, it's the philosophy. People first. Community first. Kindness that scales. We'll train new directors, share our approach, keep supporting them, and we'll do it together." "Together," Maya echoed, feeling steadier. "I like the sound of that." That weekend, they hosted a celebration for the center's 1-year anniversary since the renovation began. The rooftop garden spilled over with flowers and vegetables. The library hummed with readers. Every program buzzed. During the festivities, Noah appeared with his mother Monica, who worked 2 jobs to support her 3 kids. "Miss Maya, Mr. Alex," Noah said formally. "My mom wants to tell you something." Monica's eyes shone. "Thank you. A year ago, I didn't know how we'd make it. I was working all the time and the kids were struggling. This center became our lifeline. Noah learned to read here. My daughter got math help. I took the computer class and got a better job. You saved us, both of you." Maya hugged her. "You saved yourself. You did the work. We just held the space. That space changed everything." Clara looked at Alex. "And you, Mr. Grant, people told me you were cold and cruel, but you've been nothing but kind to my family. Thank you for seeing us as people, not cases." Alex looked genuinely moved. "Thank you for letting me be part of your community. You and your children have taught me more than I've taught you." As Clara and Noah walked away, Alex turned to Maya. "Moments like that make everything worth it." "Yes," she said softly. "They really do." Later, after the guests drifted home and the volunteers finished tidying, Alex and Maya stood alone in the main hall. The quiet felt peaceful, full of the day's echoes. "Dance with me," Alex said. "There's no music. He cued a slow song on his phone, then drew her close. Maya rested her head against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "I could do this forever," he murmured. "Dance in empty community centers. Be with you anywhere, everywhere, forever." "Forever is a long time," she teased. "Not long enough." His expression was serious, vulnerable. "Maya, I've never been more certain. You're my forever. This work we do, this life we're building, the love we share, I want all of it. Always. So do I." She touched his face gently. "I love you, Alex, more than I knew I could love anyone." Their kiss felt like a promise to each other, to their mission, to the future they were making. In the weeks that followed, they mapped the expansion. Alex brought in architects and construction managers. Maya recruited and trained new directors. Together, they codified their approach, documenting everything they'd learned over the past year. The first new center opened in the West Side neighborhood, mirroring the Riverside model exactly. At the ribbon cutting, they watched with pride as another community gained the services it needed. "This is just the beginning," Alex said as they toured the new space. 5 years from now, we'll have centers in every neighborhood that needs one." "You think big," Maya said. "I learned from the best." He smiled at her. "You taught me that thinking small means settling for less impact. If we want to change the world, we have to be bold." On a Tuesday evening, Alex took Maya to the rooftop garden of the original Riverside Center. He had asked her to meet him there after work, saying he had something important to discuss. She found him standing by the tomato plants, which were heavy with fruit. The setting sun painted everything in warm gold and orange light, making the whole garden glow. "Hi," she said, joining him. "What's going on? You sounded mysterious on the phone." Alex took her hands and she noticed he seemed nervous. "I wanted to talk to you somewhere special. This rooftop has become symbolic for me. It represents growth, new life, potential being realized. It's where we first told each other we loved each other." I remember Maya felt her heart beginning to race. Something big was happening. "Maya Carter, you changed my life. You took a man who thought he knew everything and showed him he knew nothing about what mattered. You taught me about kindness, hope, and love. You made me want to be better, do better, give more." He paused, his gray eyes locked on hers. "I don't want to spend another day without you as my partner in everything, not just in work, but in life." He released one of her hands and reached into his pocket. When he pulled out a small velvet box, Maya felt tears spring to her eyes. "I'm not getting down on one knee because I think we're equals partners in every way, but I am asking you with my whole heart. Will you marry me?" He opened the box to reveal a beautiful ring, simple and elegant, with a single diamond that caught the fading sunlight. Maya felt joy flood through her entire being. "Yes, yes, Alex. Yes to everything. Yes to forever." He slipped the ring on her finger, then pulled her into his arms, kissing her as the sun set behind them. When they finally pulled apart, both were crying happy tears. "I love you," he said. "I love you so much. I love you too, so much it almost hurts." They stayed on the rooftop as darkness fell, holding each other and making plans for their future. A future filled with love, community work, and the joy of building something meaningful together. Below them, the community center glowed with light. Inside, people were helping each other, learning, growing, thriving. Above them, stars began to appear in the darkening sky. And in between, two people who had found each other through courage and kindness, ready to face whatever came next together. Their love story was just beginning. The engagement announcements spread quickly through the community and beyond. Everyone at the Riverside Center celebrated with genuine joy. Noah appointed himself the official ring bearer in training, practicing his serious walk down imaginary aisles. Volunteers planned an engagement party. The neighborhood buzzed with happiness, but not everyone was pleased with Alex and Maya's success. Damian Whitaker, CEO of Whitaker Development Corporation and Alex's longtime business rival, watched their growing influence with increasing irritation. Damian had competed with Alex for years. Every major deal, every business opportunity, every chance for recognition had become a contest between them. But Damian had always felt secure in one area. He was better connected, more ruthless, more willing to do whatever it took to win. Alex's transformation bothered Damian deeply. The cold, focused businessman he used to compete against had become soft, distracted by charity work and romance. Damian had expected this to hurt Alex's business. But instead, Alex's reputation had soared. Grant Industries was attracting top talent who wanted to work for a company with values. Investors were impressed by Alex's community commitment. The business press was calling him a visionary leader. Worse, Alex seemed genuinely happy. He had found something Damian didn't have: love, purpose, meaningful connection. And Damian couldn't stand it. So Damian began to plot. He would remind Alex what happened when you lost focus. He would show Maya that building on kindness made you vulnerable. And he would do it in a way that wouldn't trace back to him directly. Damian started small. He used his connections on the city planning board to slow down permit approvals for the new community centers. Paperwork got lost. Inspections found minor violations that required refiling. Progress slowed from a sprint to a crawl. At first, Maya and Alex thought it was normal bureaucratic delays. But as the problems multiplied across all 3 expansion sites simultaneously, they began to suspect something more. "This doesn't make sense," Maya said, reviewing the latest round of rejection notices. "We followed all the procedures exactly. These violations they're citing are either false or incredibly minor." Alex's expression was grim. "Someone's interfering. The question is who and why." They redoubled their efforts, appealing every decision and triple-checking every submission. But the obstacles kept appearing. Construction crews showed up to find their permits mysteriously suspended. Deliveries of equipment were delayed without explanation. Inspectors became increasingly difficult. Meanwhile, Damian moved to Phase 2. He arranged for unfavorable news coverage. A reporter with connections to Whitaker Development wrote an article questioning whether community centers were the best use of urban space. Another piece suggested that Alex was neglecting his company responsibilities. A third implied that Maya lacked the experience to manage multiple locations. The articles weren't outright attacks, just subtle enough to plant seeds of doubt. But Maya felt their effect. Donors began calling with concerns. The city council reconsidered parts of their funding commitment. Some volunteers worried that the expansion was too ambitious. "Don't let them get to you," Alex said, pulling Maya close one evening after a particularly difficult day. "We know what we're doing. We know our impact is real." "I know, but it's frustrating. Everything was going so well, and now it feels like we're fighting fires everywhere. We'll figure out who's behind this, and we'll stop them." Alex hired a private investigator who began tracing the connections between the various obstacles they were facing. Within 2 weeks, he had a name: Damian Whitaker. "I should have known," Alex said, reading the report. "Damian has always been competitive, but I didn't think he'd stoop this low." "What do we do?" Maya asked. "We expose him. We show everyone what he's doing and why." But Damian had anticipated this. He had been careful to keep his involvement indirect. He had used intermediaries, made suggestions rather than direct orders, created plausible deniability at every step. The investigator's report showed a pattern, but no smoking gun. Alex called a meeting with his lawyers and advisors. They reviewed every option, looking for a way to stop Damian's interference without engaging in the same kind of underhanded tactics. "We could fight fire with fire," one lawyer suggested. "Use our connections to block some of Whitaker Development's projects." "No," Alex said firmly. That's not who we are. We don't hurt people to win. Then what do we do? Another advisor asked. Damien's winning. He's slowing us down, damaging our reputation, undermining everything you've built. Alex looked at Maya. We do what we've always done. We focus on the work. We let our results speak for themselves. And we trust that kindness and integrity will win in the end. That's risky, the law, you're warned. While you're being noble, Damien will keep attacking. Let him, Maya said, finding her voice. Every attack just shows his character compared to ours. We'll document everything, continue doing excellent work, and trust the community to see the truth. Over the next few weeks, they did exactly that. When permits were delayed, they used the time to improve their plans. When negative articles appeared, they responded with facts and testimonials from community members. When obstacles arose, they found creative solutions. The Riverside Center continued to thrive, proof of concept for their model. The community rallied around them, writing letters to the city council and organizing petitions of support. Local television covered the story of people fighting for their community centers. And slowly, public opinion began to shift. People saw through Damien's subtle attacks. They recognized the difference between a company trying to make a profit and an organization trying to make a difference. But Damien wasn't finished. If subtle tactics wouldn't work, he would need to be more direct. He started making offers to key people in Maya and Alex's organization. Higher salaries, better positions, anything to lure away their best volunteers and staff. Most people refused immediately. They were committed to the mission, not interested in working for someone like Damien. But a few were tempted. Times were hard, and Damien's offers were generous. One of the new center directors, a man named Marcus Reed, accepted Damien's offer. He had been struggling financially, and the salary Damien offered would solve his problems. Marcus called Maya to explain, his voice heavy with guilt. "I'm so sorry," Marcus said. "I know this leaves you in a difficult position. But I have a family to support, and I can't pass up this opportunity." Maya felt disappointed, but not angry. "I understand, Marcus. You have to do what's best for your family. I'll work through the transition period, help train my replacement. I won't leave you hanging. Thank you. And Marcus, I hope everything works out for you." After she hung up, Alex found her staring out the window. That was Marcus. He's taking the job with Whitaker Development. Damien offered him twice what we're paying. Alex sighed. Damon's trying to our expansion by taking our people. What if more people leave? What if we can't compete with his salaries? Then we find people who believe in the mission more than the money. We've done it before. Alex wrapped his arms around her. We can't match Damien's resources, but we have something he doesn't. Genuine purpose and community support. That's worth more than any salary. You really believe that? I know it because I chose it. I could have kept building my company focused only on profit. Instead, I chose this work, this community. You best decision I ever made. Maya leaned into him, drawing strength from his certainty. We're going to get through this. Yes, we are together. But as they stood looking out at the city, both wondered what Damien would try next. The battle was far from over, and the stakes kept getting higher. Their dream of expanding community services across the city hung in the balance. All they could do was keep moving, keep trusting their mission, and hope that love and kindness could outlast greed and ambition. The community's response to Damien's moves was immediate and fierce. As news spread that he was trying to sabotage the centers, people mobilized rallies at City Hall. Social feeds flooded with personal stories about how the Riverside Center had changed lives. Letters sent to every newsroom, official, and anyone who might listen. Noah Dash, now 8 years old and reading at grade level, stood at a city council meeting. His mother beside him, and read a letter in a clear, small voice. My name is Noah Rivera. Before the Riverside Center, I couldn't read. My mom worked all the time and nobody helped me with homework. I thought I was dumb. Then Miss Maya showed me I wasn't. I just needed help. Now I love reading. I want to be a scientist. The community center gave me that dream. Please don't let anyone take it away from other kids like me. There wasn't a dry eye in the chamber. The council approved the permits that had been mysteriously stalled, and within days construction restarted at all 3 expansion sites. Damien didn't back off. He phoned Alex directly, dropping any pretense. "You're making a mistake," he said without greeting. "All this charity is distracting you from real business. Grant Industry stock is flat while other companies in our sector are surging." "My company is doing fine," Alex answered evenly. "And even if it weren't, I'm satisfied with my choices." Satisfied? You used to be a competitor. Now you're a social worker playing at business. I used to be miserable. Now I'm fulfilled. If you can't see the difference, Damien, I'm sorry for you. Sorry for me. I'm winning. I'm building an empire while you build sandboxes for children. And when you're on your deathbed, what will that empire mean?" Alex asked. "Money you can't keep? Properties that pass to someone else? I'll have the communities we served, the children we helped learn, the families we helped feed. That's the only empire that matters." A pause. "You've changed, Alex." "Yes," he said. "For the better. You could too. I don't need to change. I'm successful. Are you happy?" Alex asked. "When you wake up, are you excited for the day? Do people care about you, not your money? Do you feel your life has meaning?" Damien hung up without replying. Even so, the conversation stayed with Alex. That evening he told Maya, "I almost feel bad for him. He's so focused on winning that he's forgotten why the game matters. Can we reach him? Show him there's another way." "I don't know, but maybe we should try." Alex drafted a letter to Damien. He didn't attack or defend. Instead, he invited Damien to visit the Riverside Center to see for himself what they were building. He offered to show Damien that success and service weren't mutually exclusive, that you could do well while doing good. He didn't expect a response, but 3 days later, Damien showed up at the community center unannounced. Maya was teaching a literacy class when Damien walked in. She recognized him immediately from photos. Her first instinct was to ask him to leave, but then she remembered what Alex had said about reaching out with kindness. "Mr. Whitaker," she said calmly, "can I help you?" Damien looked uncomfortable, out of place in his expensive suit among the simply dressed students. "I got Alex's letter. I came to see what the fuss is about." "Then let me show you." Maya excused herself from the class and gave Damien the full tour. She showed him every program, introduced him to volunteers, let him see the impact firsthand. In the job training center, a woman was practicing interview skills. In the computer lab, adults were learning to use software that would help them find better employment. In the kitchen, volunteers prepared meals for families who needed them. Everywhere, people were helping each other, building community, creating hope. Damien remained silent throughout the tour. His expression was unreadable, but Maya noticed he watched everything carefully, paying particular attention to the interactions between volunteers and community members. When they finished, Alex had arrived. He found Maya and Damien in the main hall. "Damien," Alex said, extending his hand. "Thank you for coming." Damien shook his hand reluctantly. "Your letter said I was missing something." "What did you mean?" "Come upstairs. Let's talk." They went to the rooftop garden where the afternoon sun illuminated the thriving plants. Alex and Maya sat on one bench, Damien on another across from them. "When I was building Grant Industries," Alex began, "I thought success meant being the biggest, the richest, the most powerful. I competed with you for every deal because I thought winning was everything. But I was miserable. I had money and power, but no connection, no purpose, no joy. And now you do. Damien's tone was skeptical. Yes, because I discovered that real success isn't about accumulation. It's about impact. It's not about what you have, but what you give. Not about beating others, but lifting them up. That's naive, is it? Look around you, Damien. This community is thriving because people chose to help each other. Our expansion is happening because volunteers donated time and effort. Our reputation is growing because we deliver real results. And all of it came from choosing kindness over competition, service over self-interest, Maya added. We're not saying business success is wrong, but it's not enough by itself. Alex's company is still profitable. He's just using those profits for something meaningful now. Damien was quiet for a long time. I don't have this, he finally said. I have a company, money, property, but I don't have people who care about me. I don't have a community. I don't have. He trailed off. It's not too late, Alex said gently. You could stop fighting us and join us. Use your resources for good. Experience what it feels like to help instead of compete. Why would you want my help after everything I've done to hurt you? Because kindness always wins. Because love means giving people second chances. Because we believe everyone has the potential to contribute positively if given the opportunity. Alex looked at Maya, who nodded encouragingly. So we're offering you that opportunity. Help us build community centers. Use your development skills for projects that serve people instead of just generating profit. Join us in making a real difference. Damien stood abruptly. I need to think about this. Take all the time you need, Maya said. The offer stands. After Damien left, Alex pulled Maya close. Do you think he'll actually consider it? I don't know, but we had to try. If we believe in kindness and second chances, we have to offer them to everyone, even people who've hurt us. 2 weeks passed with no word from Damien. The expansion projects continued. The new centers began operating successfully. The community support grew stronger. Then one morning, Maya received a call from an unknown number. Miss Carter, this is Damien Whitaker. I've been thinking about your offer. I'd like to discuss how I might help with the expansion. Maya gestured excitedly to Alex, who was working nearby. Mr. Whitaker, that's wonderful. When would you like to meet? Today, if possible. I have some ideas I'd like to share. That afternoon, Damien returned to the Riverside Center. This time, he came with plans. He had used his development expertise to design a more efficient model for building community centers. He offered to donate construction services for the next 3 locations, and he proposed creating a joint venture. Whitaker Development and Grant Industries working together to build community spaces across the city. Why the change of heart? Alex asked. Damien looked down at his hands. I went home after our last meeting and realized I was alone. Completely alone. I have employees who fear me, competitors who hate me, and no one who actually cares about me as a person. I've spent my entire life trying to win, and all I've won is isolation. He looked up, meeting their eyes. You two have something I don't. Real partnership, real purpose, real happiness, and I want that. So I'm asking, will you give me a chance? Let me prove I can contribute to something meaningful. Maya and Alex exchanged glances. This was the moment they had to practice what they preached, to offer grace instead of grudges, to lead with hope instead of skepticism. Yes, Maya said firmly. We'll give you that chance. Welcome to the team, Damien. Alex extended his hand. Partners. Damien shook it, and for the first time since they'd met, he smiled. Partners. Over the following months, Damien transformed as Alex had before him. He still ran his development company, but now he focused on projects that served communities. He volunteered at the centers regularly. He used his connections to help secure funding and permits. And slowly he began to experience what it felt like to give instead of take. The day the 4th community center opened, Damien stood with Alex and Maya at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. The crowd cheered as the three of them cut the ribbon together, partners in building something that mattered. Later, as they toured the new facility, Damien pulled Alex aside. "Thank you for not giving up on me, for showing me there was another way. Thank you for being willing to change. That's the hardest thing anyone can do. I still have a lot to learn about this kindness thing. We all do. That's why we do it together." As they rejoined Maya and the community celebration, Alex felt a deep sense of peace. They had faced challenges and come through stronger. They had offered grace and seen it transform lives. They had chosen love over fear, kindness over competition, hope over doubt. And they had won in the way that mattered most by making the world a little bit better, one person and one community at a time. 6 months after Damien's transformation, the network of community centers spanned 12 locations across the city. Each one thrived with the same model: programs focused on education, job training, and community support, all driven by volunteers and sustained by partnerships between businesses and neighborhoods. The Riverside Foundation for Community Development had become a recognized leader in urban community building. Other cities were reaching out, wanting to replicate the model. Alex, Maya, and Damien were regularly invited to speak at conferences and workshops. But for all their external success, what mattered most to Alex and Maya was the life they were building together. They had moved into a house near the original Riverside Center, wanting to stay close to the community that had brought them together. Their wedding was planned for spring, and the entire neighborhood was involved in preparations. Noah had grown another inch and took his ring-bearer duties very seriously. Volunteers were handling decorations. The rooftop garden would be filled with flowers for the ceremony. On a Saturday morning in March, Maya woke to find Alex already up, standing by the bedroom window, looking out at the neighborhood. "Can't sleep?" she asked, joining him. "Just thinking about how much has changed in 2 years. When I bought that building, planning to sell it for profit, I had no idea it would change my entire life. No regrets, not a single one." He pulled her close. "You saved me, Maya. You showed me what really matters. We saved each other. I was about to lose everything I'd worked for. You gave me the resources to not just survive, but thrive. We're a good team, the best team." They spent the morning at the center as they did most Saturdays. The place hummed with activity. Children were playing basketball in the gym. Adults attended a financial literacy workshop. The community garden was full of people planting spring vegetables. Damien arrived mid-morning, bringing coffee for everyone. His transformation continued to amaze people who had known him before. He had started dating a woman who worked at one of the centers, someone who loved him for who he was becoming, not for his money or status. "Big news," Damien announced. "The mayor wants to create a citywide initiative based on our model. She's proposing funding for 20 more community centers over the next 5 years. Alex and Maya exchanged excited looks. 20 more? Maya asked. 20 more. She's calling it the Riverside Initiative in honor of where it all started. She wants to announce it at your wedding reception if you don't mind mixing business with pleasure." "We don't mind at all," Alex said. "This is incredible, Damien. Your connections with City Hall made this possible." Damien looked pleased but humble. "I'm just glad to be part of something that matters. For years, I measured success by how many competitors I beat. Now I measure it by how many communities we help. It's a much better feeling." As the morning progressed, various community members stopped by to say hello. Each person had a story about how the center had impacted their life. Noah's mother had been promoted at her job. An elderly man had made new friends through the senior program. A young woman had started her own business after completing the entrepreneurship training. "This is what it's all about," Maya said softly to Alex. "Not the awards or recognition. These small moments when someone's life gets a little bit better. You taught me that. You taught me to see people, not just problems or opportunities." That evening, they hosted the final pre-wedding gathering at their house. Close friends, volunteers, and community members filled their home with laughter and joy. Noah helped pass out appetizers, his formal manner making everyone smile. During a quiet moment, Maya's best friend, Lena, pulled her aside. "You look happy. Really genuinely happy." "I am. I didn't think this kind of happiness was possible. You deserve it. After everything you've done for this community, you deserve all the happiness in the world. It's not about deserving. It's about being open to it." I could have held on to anger about almost losing the center. I could have rejected Alex's help out of pride, but I chose to accept kindness when it was offered. I chose to believe in second chances. And look what happened. Lena hugged her. "I'm so glad you did. You've changed so many lives, including your own." The wedding day arrived with perfect weather. Spring sunshine filled the rooftop garden where chairs were arranged in neat rows. Flowers bloomed everywhere, creating a riot of color. The entire neighborhood had turned out, dressed in their best clothes, ready to celebrate. Maya stood in the Sense office, wearing a beautiful white dress that her friends had helped her choose. It was simple but elegant, perfect for a community celebration rather than a formal event. Noah knocked on the door, looking sharp in his suit. "Miss Maya, Mr. Alex sent me to tell you he's ready, and I'm ready too. I've been practicing all week." She knelt down to his level. "I know you'll do great. Thank you for being such an important part of our special day." "You're welcome. I'm glad you and Mr. Alex found each other. You make each other happy." "Yes, we do." Music started playing. Maya took her father's arm and walked through the center one last time before becoming Mrs. Grant. They passed the library, the computer lab, the kitchen, the gym. Every space held memories of transformation and hope. Then they climbed the stairs to the rooftop. The ceremony was short and sweet, focused on community and love. Alex's eyes never left Maya's face as she walked toward him. When they exchanged vows, promising to support each other in their mission to serve others, many guests cried happy tears. Noah carried the rings with utmost seriousness, presenting them at exactly the right moment. The community cheered as Alex and Maya were pronounced husband and wife. The reception filled the entire center. Every floor had food, music, and celebration. The mayor arrived as promised and announced the Riverside Initiative to thunderous applause. She presented Alex and Maya with a commendation for their community service. But the best part was watching everyone come together, rich and poor, young and old, longtime residents and new arrivals, all celebrating as one community. This was the dream realized. People united by kindness and hope, proving that love could overcome any obstacle. As the sun set, Alex and Maya slipped away to the rooftop for a quiet moment together. Below them, the celebration continued. Above them, stars began to appear in the darkening sky. "Mrs. Grant," Alex said, pulling her close. "How does it feel?" "Perfect. Absolutely perfect." She kissed him softly. "Thank you for taking a chance on a woman who dared to talk back to you. Thank you for seeing past the cold billionaire to the person I could become. Thank you for teaching me about real success. Thank you for loving me always forever." They stood together looking out at the city they were helping to transform, one community at a time. Their love story had started with a confrontation at a gala, but it had blossomed into something beautiful. A partnership grounded in shared values, mutual respect, and a shared drive to make the world better. The Harborview Community Hub, once on the brink of closing 2 years ago, now anchored a citywide network of hope. Thousands of lives had been reached, hundreds of families supported, and countless dreams set in motion. And it all began because one woman dared to speak up and one man had the humility to truly listen. Hand in hand, returning to the celebration, Alex and Maya knew this was only the beginning. They would spend the rest of their lives serving communities side by side, building networks of support, and carrying kindness and hope wherever they went. Love had brought them together. Kindness had changed them both. Hope had created something lasting and beautiful.